First of all, I'd love to give a huge shout out to the residents of Evil, as well as the original news article in question for sparking the topic of a Dino Crisis reboot. It's not like people haven't been talking about a Dino Crisis reboot in the past. There are definitely other YouTubers and YouTube commenters who have expressed interest in one, but regardless, it is ultimately this video and this article as to why I am talking about this sort of thing today as well. I will leave a link to both of them in the information box below. Anyways, this video isn't necessarily a video about the possibility of a Dino Crisis reboot, but more about how a Dino Crisis reboot should go about being made. So let's get right into it. Now, although I enjoyed this game, Resident Evil 7 is a game that I don't necessarily see being the format for the series. I don't see the gameplay style for Resident Evil 7 standing the test of time. I don't think this is necessarily what all fans want from the series. And I'll be the first to admit it is definitely a decent diversion. And if this did end up becoming the permanent format, I would be okay with that. But ultimately, it's not what I want from the series, and I don't know if it's necessarily entirely what Capcom wants from the series either, and I will get into that in a whole nother video. But regardless, I feel like the RE engine, which they created for Resident Evil 7, is a very useful and interesting tool that would be excellent for Dino Crisis.
Ethan, don't lose it. It's important.
Whether you like it or not, Dino Crisis as a series has always been kind of murky. Capcom never really knew the direction they wanted to take the series in. When Shinji Mikami created the first game way back when, it was definitely a survival horror title, although the term he used was panic horror, but still, you could tell he wanted it to be more like Resident Evil than anything else. But Capcom ultimately had way different plans for the series. When Dino Crisis 2 came out, it was more of an arcadey shooter with the same sort of gameplay style as a Resident Evil game, rather than a survival horror title. Then Dino Stalker came out for PS2, and it was a first-person light gun game in the Survivor series of games like Resident Evil Survivor or Resident Evil Survivor 2, Resident Evil Dead Aim, and so on and so forth. It wasn't until Dino Crisis 3 came out where we truly realized that Capcom had absolutely no idea what they wanted to do with this franchise, and since that game wasn't a success, they ultimately just canned the franchise. We never really got any Dino Crisis after that. Which is kind of sad, but the potential with the RE engine to create an incredible Dino Crisis style game, it's just there, and I don't think anybody can deny it. Dino Crisis needs to make a return, and I think the RE engine would be perfect for it. Photogrammetry, could you imagine the dinosaur, the life-size dinosaur models that Steven Spielberg created for the original Jurassic Park film? Could you imagine those getting scanned into a video game, and now you have to fight those creatures? You have to survive against those dinosaurs? Sounds pretty fucking epic, doesn't it? And with this technology that Capcom created, photogrammetry, a device that they use to scan real-life objects into video games, something that they used for RE7, which helps give that game its visceral and just pure horror experience, could definitely be utilized in the Dino Crisis franchise. We could be squaring off face-to-face with realistic-looking dinos. You know, could you imagine just being armed with a machine gun, have all this ammo, playing as Regina, first person, shooting at dinosaurs, and having it do almost no damage whatsoever, to have this action title that is also a horror title, something that Resident Evil had been trying to do but been failing at? It would make sense for dinosaurs with their thick, hard skin, not being able to get penetrated easily by bullets. It would be incredible, an amazing horror experience. Dino Crisis has that potential, and with the Resident Evil engine, what was created for Resident Evil 7, that is definitely a possibility here. RE Engine does not have to be mitigated just to the Resident Evil series, despite its name. It can be used in tons of franchises, and I think Dino Crisis is the perfect franchise for Capcom to start experimenting with it. Photogrammetry needs to make its way into other franchises.
Good news! I got the control system back online. What's the situation over there?
It's Gale. I lost him.
So what's the bad news? Did you run into some guards?
You're not gonna believe this. He was attacked by some kind of dinosaur.
Now that's a good one. So, who was it? Ernie?
This isn't a joke, you idiot. We were just attacked by a big-ass lizard.
For real, what's going on over there? Alright, head over to the control room and we'll sort out this whole situation.
As for Dino Crisis, the series, it'd be great to see it make a return. I'd like to see a reboot just as well as anybody else. If they wanted to do a third-person action game with dinosaurs, the same vein as Resident Evil 6, and make it a Dino Crisis game, you know what? I'd ultimately be okay with that. There just aren't enough dinosaur games out there to begin with, and I'd really enjoy that. If they wanted to make a return to the survival horror of the first game and make it like Resident Evil 1 Remake, I'd love that too. But I think the RE engine and a first-person perspective is ultimately the best choice for this title, if they ever do make a Dino Crisis reboot. And that's why I'm making this video, to spark discussion and to spread awareness, as well as to spread awareness just for a Dino Crisis reboot in general. I think it'd do really well in today's marketplace. It'd be really unique to have a dinosaur-themed game, a big AAA production, a horror title utilizing dinosaurs where you actually go up against them Turok style. That's something that this generation of consoles is sorely missing. And I don't think Battlefield's ever going to make that versus dinosaur game mode that we've all been screaming for. So, anyways, guys, what do you guys think of this? Do you think this would be a great future for Dino Crisis? Do you think it'd be a big success? Anyways, whatever your guys' thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. Please spark this discussion and talk about this and talk about a Dino Crisis reboot. I'd just like to see the series rebooted as a whole, but I think the RE engine would be a great addition. Regardless, I'll see you guys next time.
That's disgusting.
And so I cry sometimes when I'm lying